Having a child with a billionaire was a blessing, but he was old enough to be a grandfather. Edith knocked at Ayo's door. After the second knock, Ayo opened the door. To his surprise, a heavily pregnant woman stood in front of him. He shut the door. The street gave her mental toughness. Edith's mother left Edith in front of an orphanage home when she was 2 weeks old. The orphanage home took good care of her. She was adopted at 3 years old by a couple who had no children. The couple later had 2 kids within 5 years of Edith's adoption. On Edith's 10th birthday, there was neither cake nor celebration. Her adoptive mom sent her on an errand and loaded her final load in the truck. Before Edith came back from the errand, she drove off. Edith found her clothes in 2 old buses. She cried for her adoptive parents, but her voice echoed within the empty house. She searched for her phone, but couldn't find it. Her adoptive mom took the phone with her. Edith called her adoptive mom from a public phone, but she didn't respond. Her phone was switched off. She called her siblings and her adoptive father, but none of them responded. Edith wandered the street till she met a beggar, an old woman whom she always gave money. The old woman told her to come and live with her in the street. That was the first time Edith experienced the true love of a mother. Edith grew up in the street till she was 20 years old. At 20, she got a job as a domestic worker in a billionaire's house. Mr. Newton lived in a big mansion alone with a security man and a driver in separate apartments. He was super fit, apart from a little slurring in his speech. Edith knocked at the gate. A security man opened for her to come in. It was then she realized how gigantic the building was. He directed her to a 2-bedroom apartment. She wondered why life had thrown her a huge opportunity despite her struggles. Her salary was 10 times better than the average salary of Nigerian graduates, despite a lack of formal education. Her heart pounded as she opened the door. The fragrance that welcomed her was out of this world. She locked the door behind her and prayed, thanking God for the olive branch extended to her amid her struggles. God is good, she said in a low voice. She was curious about who the other bedroom was for and why she was given a 2-bedroom apartment. She had no family apart from the beggar who loved her greatly. At night, she took the longest and cleanest baths of her life. Different kinds of soaps, perfume, and luxurious creams were stocked for her. She spent an hour bathing. She switched on the AC and covered her body with a fluffy duvet. She slept like a baby in the king-size bed. She woke up at noon. By the time she finished taking her bath, it was 1 p.m. She quickly dressed up and went to the lounge. She felt shy seeing Mr. Newton reading a newspaper in the lounge. She greeted him and stood afar. He told her to sit and asked about her family. She told him she had no family. She felt it was too early to mention the beggar, whom she loved dearly. Unknown to her, the beggar had begged Mr. Newton for money. As Mr. Newton took out lots of money, she refused to take it. Instead, she pleaded for a job for her daughter. Mr. Newton still gave her the money and told her to send her daughter's CV to a recruitment agency. The beggar and Edith crafted a CV and forwarded it to the agency. The next day, she was invited for an interview. Despite she was the least educated among the candidates, she got the job on merit. Mr. Newton shook his head and didn't question her any further. As she cleaned the house, she found money in several places. $1,000 at the back of a chair, 50,000 naira in an envelope, and a golden necklace in the kitchen. She kept the money and the necklace on top of a table where Mr. Newton could see them. The house was pretty clean, and she promised to do her best to make it cleaner, if possible. One day, she found a diamond ring and took a picture of it. She called one of her friends who was street savvy. She sent him a picture of the diamond ring. He told her the ring was worth $5 million, but the street price was $1 million. He had a buyer who would take possession of the diamond ring. Then she knew the street price could be $2 million upwards. He quoted a reduced sales price to make more money and split the $1 million 50-50. She pocketed the diamond ring. Her phone beeped. 300,000 naira had been deposited in her bank account. She couldn't go to Mr. Newton to thank him for the money he had transferred to her because his driver, Omokaro, had told her that Mr. Newton was a generous man. He doesn't like to be bothered. He was always busy with the stock markets and other investments. Omokaro had told her to focus on her job and enjoy the benefits of working for a billionaire. She kept the diamond ring where she had found it. Mr. Newton nodded and said she was a poor girl, but not a thief. After a second month working with Mr. Newton, he sent her to a driving school. She learned to drive manual and automatic cars. She went to driving school 3 times a week, and when she finished her training successfully, Mr. Newton paid an additional 3 months' fees for defensive driving course. She was happy that she could drive. She prayed for him and thanked God for bringing Mr. Newton into her life. She drove Mr. Newton in tinted luxury cars to visit his friends. Mr. Newton always gave her excessive money to buy groceries. The first time she bought groceries, she transferred the remaining 400,000 naira back to the petty cash account. He sent her a message to stop returning the extra money. After that day, she kept whatever was left. She began to glow, and men looked at her whenever she went to the market. Sometimes, some of the food sellers gave her free groceries just to get her numbers. She told them that they could reach her on TikTok at night, but her father was strict. Many men begged to visit her, but when she told them where she stayed, they became scared. One night, she dreamt of eating chocolate with a golden spoon, and Mr. Newton encouraged her to eat more. The next moment, she was wearing Mr. Newton's pajamas and dancing to Afrobeat music. Thereafter, Mr. Newton was in a horse racing competition, and she shouted, "Go on, Newton, go on, Newton," as if they were friends or mates. Mr. Newton's horse looked at her and raced harder. At the finishing line, he fell from the horse. The crowd was silent. She kept shouting, go on, Newton, go on, Newton." Then she slowly opened her eyes and was confused about the weird dream. She couldn't comprehend why she dreamt about Mr. Newton. She had barely closed her eyes when Mr. Newton gave her a yam and mango leaves. The blaring of her phone woke her up. She wondered who would be calling her at that hour. She reluctantly picked up the call, and the person spoke in strange language. All she heard was, "Sorry, is the wrong number." She eased herself into the toilet and did her business before coming back to the bed. As she woke up, she wished Mr. Newton would give her mango leaves or a rose flower. Mr. Newton requested for a Greek yogurt for breakfast, and she happily served him. On a day off, she visited the hospital and did several tests. She had a clean bill of health. She was joyous and behaving in a way she couldn't imagine. She tried to control her raging hormones, but she failed. She tried different things daily to get Mr. Newton's attention for as little as 5 minutes of conversation, but he never noticed her. One day, Mr. Newton lost his best friend, who was also a billionaire. He grieved quietly at home. For 1 week, he watched the funeral of his friend daily. He played the tape back and forth. Edith brought an espresso for him and used the opportunity to console him, despite she had sent him a condolence message to the phone, which was all he needed. He appreciated her condolences and focused on the TV. She went back to her room with mixed emotions. Omokaru was supposed to take Mr. Newton somewhere, but he was running late. Mr. Newton called Edith several times on her phone, but she didn't hear it ringing. He knocked at her door, but didn't respond. He wondered if she was okay. He opened the door, and to his surprise, she was ill. He touched her hand, and she felt goose pimples all over her body. She held him firmly, and he reciprocated. He danced a masquerade dance with her. They felt happy. It was different from the Mr. Newton she had known. She continued doing her chores and every task assigned to her. Occasionally, she got kisses and hugs from Mr. Newton. 6 months later, she noticed that her tummy was getting bigger than normal. Initially, she thought she was getting fatter, but as time went by, she realized she could be pregnant. She did urine and blood tests, and the test confirmed her fears. She told Mr. Newton, and he was excited. He promised to take care of her and her baby. She was ambivalent. Having a child with a billionaire was a blessing, but he was old enough to be a grandfather. Life went on, and she thanked God for the blessings. One cool morning, she was with Mr. Newton in his room. They were dancing the masquerade dance, which had become part of their daily lives. Mr. Newton slumped. She called his doctor, and he came without delay. The doctor confirmed he had joined his ancestors. She burst into tears. The security man wept, asking God why he had taken his helper. Omokaru came back home and realized that Mr. Newton had passed. He cried like a baby. The way the doctor stared at Edith when the ambulance took Mr. Newton's body to the morgue told her that the house was no longer safe for her. That night, she left the house with $100,000, 3 million naira, and jewelry. She wanted the diamond ring, but it was locked in the safe. She lodged in a 5-star hotel. Every day, she thought she was responsible for Mr. Newton's death. Omokaru sent her the obituary, and she realized that Mr. Newton was 86 years old. The cause of death was a heart attack. Natural cause was written on his death certificate. She wanted to attend the funeral, but she was scared. She switched off her phone and continued living a luxurious life. Despite she had no source of income, she checked out of the hotel after spending 2 months. Her account was becoming red. Her next plan was to visit the man she had been chatting with online for 2 months. The man was handsome and wealthy. She looked beautiful despite her pregnancy. Hopefully, he would accept her or allow her to stay with him. She paid for a bus to Lagos, but the driver refused to take her, saying she was heavily pregnant. She decided to pay for 3 seats. He allowed her because it had been an hour waiting for passengers, and none was forthcoming. Meanwhile, Ayo was excited the whole day. He sent photos of Edith to 3 of his friends, and they all praised him for getting a pretty damsel. Ayo had brushed his teeth 4 times before 6 p.m. He normally brushes his teeth twice at most in a day. But it was a special day, and he needed to smell good in and out. Edith knocked at Ayo's door. After the second knock, Ayo opened the door. To his surprise, a heavily pregnant woman stood in front of him. He recognized her, but why would she lure him and even visit him with another man's pregnancy? He shut the door. Edith stood right there. He looked at her through the window, and he was not happy. As she turned to leave, he opened the door and called her back. He knew the area was dangerous, and people would take advantage of her. He allowed her to spend the night at his house. She thanked him and went to the visitor's bedroom. One of Ayo's friends called him to ask if Edith had arrived. He said she didn't turn up in a painful voice. At about 3 a.m., Ayo heard screams from the visitor's bedroom and he rushed to meet Edith. She was having labor pains. He drove her to the hospital. She gave birth to a baby boy that morning. He paid the medical expenses and told her never to call him again. He went back home feeling angry and used. 2 days later, he visited the hospital, but he was surprised to hear that Edith had run away, leaving her baby behind. The police questioned Ayo and he narrated how they had met. The police allowed him to go home. Edith stayed in Lagos with another man for 2 weeks. Thereafter, she traveled to Port Harcourt, where she found the man of her dreams within her first 3 months in Port Harcourt, and they quickly got married. As she settled into her new life, Edith often reflected on the lessons she had learned. The streets gave her mental toughness, and Mr. Newton's kindness and generosity showed her the power of wealth. Her experience with Ayo reminded her of the complexities of human relationships and regretted taking his love for granted. Edith remained hopeful. She knew that life would continue to challenge her, but she was ready to face whatever came her way, armed with the strength and wisdom she had gained through her extraordinary journey. Her marriage was not without its struggles. Edith's past haunted her, creating issues in her relationship. Her husband, though supportive, often found it difficult to understand the depths of her emotional scars. He was willing to help her go through anything, but she found it difficult to tell him that she had left her child in the hospital. One day, Edith decided to visit the orphanage where her life began. The visit was emotional, bringing back memories of her early years. The children's playing room lacked toys. She ordered 100 toys and 80 children's books. She pledged to support the orphanage, using her resources to improve the lives of the children. This decision marked a turning point as she found a new purpose in life. She told the owner of the orphanage how her adoptive parents had treated her. The owner of the orphanage felt sad for what she had gone through. She promised to change the procedures for adopting children in her orphanage, despite there were legislations and guidelines for adopting children in the country. Edith called Ayo. Luckily, he was still using the same phone numbers. He picked, and he wasn't mad at her. She apologized to him and sent him money, far exceeding what he had spent on her. She asked him if he knew the orphanage that adopted her son. He instantly said no and told her that there was no need for her to send the money. She continued to apologize. He hung the phone on her. She wrote him a message and begged him to help her find her son. He didn't respond. A week later, she received a call from Ayo when she was in church. He told her he had been supporting the orphanage financially. The name of her son was Roy, and he looked like her. She was joyous, and she prayed to God to keep her son alive. From that minute, all her worries began to fade away. She confessed her past to her husband. He equally gave her the shock of her life. He told her of his girlfriend who ran away with his baby girl because his girlfriend's mom never liked him, and by now the child will be 16 years old. Edith was shocked, but she swallowed her anger. Meanwhile, Ayo had a new girlfriend who loved him beyond his imagination. Ayo was waiting for his girlfriend to get pregnant before he could propose to marry her. He immersed himself in his work, focusing on personal growth. The experience with Edith had left a lasting impact, teaching him valuable lessons about trust and vulnerability. He avoided overcommitting to his girlfriend despite she was well-behaved and beautiful. She was financially stable and had everything he needed from a woman. She was the dream of every man, and he thanked God for meeting her.